Did I hear an apology? I think I did.
Well, he's very honest then, because a lot of players would have just styled that out.
Thank you.
So he's going to just tickle to the yellow and put Lazowski in trouble.
Not for saying count 12. Oh, and a miss. 4.
Lazowski didn't strain many sinews on that shot. It was down and played.
Yeah.
Well, it's touching ball normally. That's a really good thing for the incoming player, because they can take the cue ball up into bulk and nicely into the sanctuary of the safety zone. But this time, that's not an option because the red is so close to the pocket.
What's
Well, table 2, Joe O'Connor made a half-century to start the second frame, and he's just spotted an absolute wonder red down the left-hand side cushion, pretty much the full length of it. He's almost certain to take a 2-0 lead over Jack Jones. And remember, O'Connor,
लाल से कलर की है
if he wins, that match would have 3 points out of 3.
इसको निकली इसके अंदर वरना फिर नीचे बीच में नीचे पड़ा अगर होया तो नहीं वो खाली कर दी थी वैसे और नहीं निकली कोड़ी बेटी एक तो बिस्तर वाली ले गई है
He's starting to get a little bit frustrated, I
वो
think.
तो खाली है हाँ तो बाहर ही बड़ा सामान था
Not just this match, but the whole day, really.
तो और खाली करके उतरनी की और किस तरह उतरनी थी
But Sengham surely senses a chance to get this one. It's not the easiest table by any means, but he's in front already by 28.
एक और जो सा शीशे वाला उसका जेड़ा स्टैंड है जिसके साथ वो घूमता वो भी चल गया उधर हाँ मोटर चल गई तो वो दूसरा इधर
That's
ही
the
पड़ा
way of the world, isn't it, Dave? When you
अब
see
इनको
your
पता कि
opponent
मोटर
toiling
रखी रहेगा
and clearly not in a good mental space,
हाँ वो गेम थी नहीं
that in itself
ये
diffuses
क्या पता मैं
confidence.
क्या कोई होना ही लेके जाने वाला सामान वो निकालते लेके जाने वाला कोई नहीं निकला रस्सी वाला सारा सामान निकला
Yeah, I mean, you can't really have any mercy when you're out there. You've got to pick up the signs, the clues from
सीढ़ियाँ चढ़ते ही
stroke.
छोटा सा जो सा नहीं है
नीचे सा कमरा है उसमें
किचन के ऊपर
हाँ
कहाँ रखनी थी वो
But
दूसरी
he has
करनी
missed
है
that one. He wasn't too close, actually, so
तो वो रास्ते में से जगह खाली करवाई
was focused when chair.
उधर वहाँ कहाँ रखी जानी थी
Get
वैसे
going
और
again.
थोड़ी सी
Again, it's not the easiest table, but he's very good at just getting things into the
थोड़ी
open
सी चला
quickly.
जाता है तो इतनी वहाँ क्या रखना है
ये कोई ऊपर ही तो नहीं
उधर छोटा बैठा ना बिछा देना
तो मैं वैसे बिछा लूँगा
तो दूसरा एक और कमरा है छोटा
उधर वैसे बिछा
वैसे
लूँगा
भी बेड
सिंगल बेड पड़ा नहीं है तो सिंगल बेड उधर आराम से आ रहा है सिंगल बेड
ना सोफे
वहाँ सोफे जो रखे हैं
सोफे दो ही
तो और तू चटाई बिछा ले साथ
कोई आया था बंदा बैठने से बोला
देखेंगे
देखो आई नीचे
काशी चार भाई बिछा लिए
आहो चार भी बिछा
गर्मियों में तो स्कूल
चादर ही सारी इकट्ठी करी पड़ी है नीचे नहीं थोड़ी सी थी वो डाल दिया
Much of that today, really, I'm afraid.
मुझे बंद करी समझ दे दी
Sengam has it in his hands to get this one.
ਲਾਈਟ ਵੀ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ
And officially it is 2-0 for Joe O'Connor over Joe Jones on the other table.
ਤੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਫਿੱਕੀ
इतनी सी चीनी
ਤੇ ਗੁੜ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ
नहीं है, गुड़ तो खत्म हो गया।
ਬਰਤਨ ਕੇ ਟੁੱਟੇ थे
पता नहीं खोले बर्तन नहीं है, डब्बे ही थे उसमें सारे।
ਉਹ ਟੁੱਟੇ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਵੀ
सब टूट जाती है
पेटी के अंदर
नहीं, यहाँ से किचन के बर्तन भी निकाले, यहाँ से किचन
ਪਿੱਛੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਰੱਖੇ ਤੇ ਉੱਪਰ से रड़ता ही है
And this will put Nopon Sankom right back in the mix. Two wins out of three on day one in any group is not bad.
पता नहीं अभी कल देखेंगे अब
कितने पैसे लिए थे
वो जानने वाला ही था
So black to lead by 53.
नहीं आप
Another red
मस्त
colour
होना कल देखेंगे ना क्या
should
बना
be sufficient. Obviously there is that red out in open play
वो भाई देखेंगे ना फिर
on the cushion, but either way, red and black here. It's looking like it is
क्या क्लियर होना
Zowski.
वो कुछ भी नहीं होना है आदमी बस कही होना क्या करना वो करना कुछ भी नहीं
Made that good clearance, didn't he? But apart from that, he'll be disappointed, and hopefully we'll get a good night's sleep. Come back tomorrow. He can still qualify if he won his last three. It could happen in a tight group.
मैं आते आपको क्या था जड़ा टेबल पड़ा जड़ा सोफा दा पड़ा उठा के ले नहीं लेके जाना और जड़ा अंदर पड़ा
As for Sankom, he
हमने
has
तो नहीं
exactly
लेके
the
जाना
same
आप ही
slot.
जाएगा
Group 5 winner.
आप गएगा एक ही दफा जड़ा जाता वो तो जाने देना
अच्छा जगह है तो रख लेते हैं।
तो मैं तो रख लेने थे आप ही मना किया
Again tomorrow
मैं तो इसका
morning.
सामान मना कर रही थी, मैं तो इसका
तो आपने उसका भी मना किया था अंदर से वो नहीं लेके आना है कोई इस तरह हो जाना
इधर से
है
कह रही थी मैं
They
कि ये
can
ना
also
लेके
want
जाइए।
to complete the afternoon. He takes on Tom Ford. So things for him decent. This red
तो
should
अलमारी
make
लेके जानी
absolutely sure. Already a
बर्तन
snooker required. I don't think Zowski will have any interest over
आप
this
इधर
red.
हो की है ना
goes in.
बर्तन अलमारी ना तो
वो
उसकी
उसके ऊपर
कटी
सामान पड़ा है इसका
There it is.
इसका
So Nopon Sankom will be delighted with
उसको
his
खाली
day's
होगी
work.
तो
He's
ले
very
लिया
much in the
हमने
mix
इसलिए
here.
हम डरते इसलिए नहीं हाथ लगाते फिर बोलने लग जाते फिर चीजें खा खा के मारने लग जाते
So every frame is counting.
हम तो इसलिए नहीं हाथ लगाते।
वो जड़ा सामान है उधर अलमारी के अंदर है ਜਿਹੜੀ दूसरी और कूलर दे दो किसी को या बेच दो टूटे या बड़ा सारा
हाँ तो आप ही कर लेगा ना टूटिया पे वो साबित हो जिसकी चीज है आप ही कर लेगा।
वो टूटा बड़ा हाथ में है तो
कहाँ रखना है इसको टूटे को? मैं कहता उसका पंखा निकालो बाकी इसको दे दो
A bit of vintage performance, but he's here to do a job and he's done it efficiently.
चलो उसके दिमाग में नहीं आने कोई बात
आपको किस नहीं हो
Well, he's not done yet. Terrific ball. Just sort of delaying.
दूसरा ले लेंगे हम छोटा ये नहीं लेना
Inevitable for Zowski, who's disabled tomorrow.
टूटा पड़ा सारा
Certainly need to win his last three, but it's been done before now.
छापर भी
खाली
है
में तोड़ तोड़ के
It is though Nopon Sankom who takes the
एक
point
दान
from
चादर को
this
फेरा
match. He
उधर को
beats
फेरा
Jack
उधर
Zowski
अब दो जाली उठा के
by
मारता
3
है
frames to 1.
वो जाली हाथ में आ गई
Match to bring him on this table. And he's through to
हाँ
the
और बताने चाहिए तो बात कोई नहीं
ਤੇ ਤੂੰ ਵੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਆਦੀ ਮੈਂ ਠਾਕ ਵੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਖਣਾ ਪਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੱਥ ਪਏ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੇ ਤੀ ਮੈਂ ਫੈਂਕ ਵੀ ਨੂੰ ਆਣਾ ਤਾਂ
यार पीले कलर का ले देखो
नहीं काला ही पड़ा इसमें मेरे को
एक और काला पड़ा ले आ देखो
वो तेरे आया ना
ये किसके आना
ये मेरे आया ना नहीं आना तेरे
बड़ा
नहीं छोटा है वो दूसरा ठीक है वो तेरे आया ना
ये पकड़ वो तो क्या बैग उधर
काला काला
रहने दे इसमें लेटना है इन्हें लेटना है
पकड़ा तो किया जाए
चाय पी लेंगे हम ये उठ जाते हैं।
as well. It's just how he is, isn't it? It's almost become a sort of parody of itself. I think people expect him to be like that, so he feels he has to be. But we know how good he can be when he strings it together.
एक मिनट दिखाना तो कैंसिल पर आप फिलहाल तो कहीं जाइए तो इतना कार्ड नहीं है बाद में बढ़ेगे टोटल लगना है लंबे लोग के कार्ड काटते हैं उसका टोटल आता है टोटल लगाना पड़ना फिर तुमने बीच में काट देना है कुछ करना नहीं मैं ऐसा देखना एक बार घूमती होगी तो यहाँ से रख के काटना तो बाद में जब उसको मैं लगानी फिर
So make this plan quite clear exactly what he could see here.
तुमने काटी थी वाले
Well, he sort of flicked off the other red and potted the one near the pocket. So anyway, he's in.
तुमने पहले कौन सी काटी थी हाँ ये काटी
It's not actually that great of a chance just yet. And there's a little bit of tidying up to be done. He wants clear access to the black, and he wants it back on its spot, available into both corner pockets. Ideally, there's two reds that are just preventing that at the moment. The pink's okay though. He can work on the pink, blues on its spot as well. So chance to score a few. I thought he was very disappointing in his previous match against Dave Gilbert. He missed a few and mistimed a few as well, which is not like him.
Well, yeah, I think, the long days here, I know they're not digging the streets, but there is a bit of hanging around as well, and then the food comes, which is always really nice, and I think sometimes in the evening a little bit of fatigue sets in, or really just focus more than anything.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that exactly. The focus, the concentration just didn't look there for Judd in the last game, and I think you're right. The waiting around, it sounds silly to use it as an excuse because they're playing snooker at the end of the day. There's a lot worse things they could be doing, but it can just affect your focus. Up in the players' lounge, a lot of milling around in between games. The food, like you say, the dartboard's out as well now.
Yeah, and there's also sort of chatting going on, and maybe you're not as intense as you would be in a normal match going out to play. You've been spending a pleasurable hour chatting to people, having your food, but then maybe not quite in the zone you would be in normally. You see them standing in that corridor at the Crucible. I know that's the World Championship, but a lot of players there look absolutely terrified to be walking out. But here it's a bit more relaxed, clearly.
Well, to put it into perspective, and he's played a lot of snooker over the past few days, Judd. He's definitely thrown more darts than he's potted balls.
Yeah, I mean, some of those snooker players are pretty handy as well. It's quite annoying that they're good at another sport. They had a challenge on Eurosport actually last week. They got some of the guys at the Masters to throw 9 darts, and the highest total was made by Ronnie O'Sullivan. You think, well, you're already good enough at one thing, the greatest ever. 20.
Now the black will pot to left corner pocket. He needs to be pretty high up on it to do that. 2 reds on the left side of the table. The bottom one of them will pot. He's looking at this red to middle. Not a bad shout. It's a more difficult shot. But that just opens up the other and the pink completely. So slowly building a lead here.
Maybe what's doing him a favour here is he's had to focus on this break because the balls have been awkward. He's had to work it out, so he hasn't been able to sort of take his eye off a ball really. defends his German Masters title next week at the Tempodrome in Berlin. Beat Si Jiahui in the final last year. Obviously, he's going to be on that main table as long as he's there, as he should be. Oh, what a shot he's played there. That was a huge stretch across the table. Just a pop very uncomfortable, very difficult, but he managed to screw the cue ball back perfect for the pink. You will need one of the reds, either one that's on the cushion or the one next to the black, so he might have to play a little cannon to the black at some point because the red won't pass it unless he can land high up enough on the red. Could even play a cannon here. Not guaranteed to land nice on a colour, but it's a chance. He's tried it, he's missed it. 54. Yeah, so as you say, still needs a red. But the balls are in favourable positions for him with the lead he's got. Well, look at the work that he's got on the cue ball. That was a superb shot to get the cue out of there quickly. He's flicked a red as well, and he's got a chance to pot it. If he drops this red in, he can just float the pink into the middle. Doesn't need to do anything with the cue ball. Pink is frame ball. The black potentially as well. Either or will be fine. Well, Ford did need a snooker and the black ran safe, so I didn't think he had any feelings about getting stuck in there. Quite clearly he didn't because he conceded, so Trump needs one more. So just Trump poised to break off here in frame 2, leading 1-0 against Tom Ford, the last match of the day on table 1, day 1 of Group 6 of BetVictor Championship League. Of course, he was runner-up this time last night to Matt Selt, well beaten actually 3-0. Selt was still a bit disappointed, wasn't he? He didn't make the 3 centuries, he made 2 and then missed a black on 95, just hung in the jaws of the right corner. I think we know that Ford's going to attack here. Couldn't be bothered playing on there, and I think either way, kind of once the match done, obviously he'd like to win it, but he's going to go down swinging. It's a problem though, if you don't get him, you're probably going to leave something, and he has done. Yeah, it wasn't an easy pot to take on, and we had to play it at pace to try and get the cue ball round and back up the table. Now, Judd will have his sights set on that black. He'd love to get that back on its spot. That's what he's chosen to try and play up for, but he's hit it too hard. Another very good shot. Using the 3 cushions there just to maximise the area you can put the cue ball into. Yeah, just quite top side of the blue, so next red is going to be played from further away. It's a good strike as well. Get back up for the blue.
9.
Taking this one, the other two, I think, covering one another. The thing is, he's not being put under much pressure. I mean, even just the early concession from Ford there, tells you quite a lot about his frame of mind in going into this match. I think earlier on, Trump was sort of putting himself under pressure, trying to make centuries. Obviously, he sees the Championship League as an opportunity to up his tally with the chance to win the 100,000 bonus, were he to make 100 this season. But he can get undone that way. Frame has to be the most important thing.
20.
Yeah, it can certainly cloud your thought process when you're out there, and your vision as well when you're in amongst the balls, just looking for a way to open the frame and get the balls perfect to make the ton. That's just how good he is, really. He can basically just make tons whenever he wants. He goes for some shots that people would only dream of playing, and plays them with such control. Again, another very attacking shot, but there was nothing loose about it. He's run a little too far for the blue, but might be okay for the corner pocket.
I think he's one of these players, he just sees everything, every opportunity, instinctively as well. And that's now fed into his tactical game when he needs to play that side of it. He's become so good at that. So, there's been tournaments he's won where early on he hasn't been scoring necessarily, but he's been winning the tactical frames that 10 years ago he wasn't. Put it all together, he's not a mystery-wise world number one.
You can't buy a good positional shot on the blue. This whole break he's been straight or too far. See the puff of the cheeks. I can understand why every shot seems to be a recovery shot at the minute, but ultimately they keep going in. He's straight on this red. He's okay, he can just crunch the red in. Lay down for the pink. Yes, he's going back to the blue, and this time he's caught it nicely.
In terms of centuries, he has made 2 today, so he's on 59 for the season. Maybe also thinks he needs to make them to keep Jack Jones away, because he's been racking them up as well. He might be after the 100 grand.
Jack might make 100 this week.
Well, he should secure the frame in a couple of pots' time. And then obviously he will give the centuries full attention. That's fine once the frame's won. Well, I pushed that red safe, so that's not great for the century. Gonna have to develop those reds.
Yeah, he'll be livid with himself with that one. Just left himself too low. Couldn't really control the cannon to the second red. Although knowing Judd, he'll probably find a way to get those reds out at some point. Or plant them down the rail or something daft. Nothing is safe out there when Judd's at the table. I suppose he could leave himself an angle off this next red to bring those reds out. If he has an angle, he might try it. Would screw into them.
73.
Doesn't have to play it, of course. He'd just be then looking for an angle off his next colour. Well, he has tried it. Well, that's a great shot.
74.
Again, just like you said, Dave, he just never misses a trick, Judd. Looking for an angle off the red. It was a free shot to do that. Just had to leave himself the angle.
I might be going mad because I was actually waiting for the applause here. It was so good, and then I realised there's no audience.
Well, you're welcome to give him a little ripple, Dave.
It was a great shot, wasn't it? And it's been a great break. Well, it deserves a century now. Went over 10 million in prize money for his career last week at the Masters, and I tell you what, he deserves every penny. He's worked so hard. Okay, he's talented, but that only gets you so far. It's about the discipline. He likes to play snooker every day. That tells you a lot as well.
87.
Yeah, he really has. We're so fortunate to be watching a player like Judd Trump in full flow. He really has become one of the all-time greats.
92.
He's still got so many years ahead of him as well.
94.
So, green and brown for his 3rd century of the day. Switch. Fans.
97.
And this will be century number 60 of the season. He was on 49 when he got here a few days ago.
101. 106.
Audaciously talented. And firmly disciplined. It's some combination.
112.
It's been a brilliant break, actually. Total clearance of 119.
on the frame. Just
Dazzling stuff from Judd Trump, the world number 1, leads Tom Ford 2-0. Not the highest break of the group there from Judd Trump, but possibly the best. As Tom Ford gets ready. Maybe could trademark this break-off shot because it actually has been quite successful in terms of not leaving a red on. It might take off. Well, that was less successful. He's caught the jaws, and I'll tell you what, he'd be worried that could be his last shot. Maybe, maybe don't trademark it. That was quality.
What?
One of them you see down the club quite often, and whoever's played it thinks they've invented the best break-off ever, but that is what can happen with that break-off. You catch it a little thick, and the jaws of the pocket always come into play now. Judd Trump can get to work. He's low on this red at the back of the pack, probably too low than he would have liked, but
8.
this will give him a free shot at bringing everything into play. Can he get on his next colour? Yeah, he's played it well.
9.
Just got the cue ball out far enough to pot this black. It's thin, but he's got 3 or 4 reds available to play on. Very awkward cueing for a left-handed player. But no trouble whatsoever.
$60. $70.
Doesn't have to play it, but he's absolutely perfect on this black to screw into the main cluster. Yeah, he's going high on the cue ball, so he's not playing it here. It was a gamble. Oh, that's a terrible shot. Terrible shot. To snooker himself behind the blue, he had so much room for error there. Okay, he's got this red to right corner that could be a recovery red, but very tough, big stretch. Yeah, very well potted considering. Oh no, he has got them open. Who's going to be the first to say it, Stephen? Well, I thought you was going to say it there, Dave, to be honest. That split he's just played was played to absolute perfection. He didn't go into them with too much pace, purely down to the fact that he didn't want to push a red to the cushion. Well, how would Joe O'Connor feel? He's missed the last black on a maximum, but he's still with the 140. He's in line for the high break. News comes through that Trump's made one. It's not going to cheer him up.
14.
Oh, these balls are placed so perfectly now. It's as good a chance as Murphy had last week at the Masters. These reds are so nice.
Judd Trump has made 8 maximum breaks in his career.
48.
That's how many actually Murphy had made before the one at the Masters.
14.
I mean, there's no more cannons left to be played. Every ball pots. As he pots one, it releases another. It's just all about cue ball control.
This might be why Tom's break-off shot won't catch on. If Trump makes the maximum of it.
56.
Yeah, what a way to punish it.
57.
He's just come up a fraction straight on this black, so a little bit of work required here. Yeah, and he struck it once again to perfection. Just a little use of reverse side just to
60.
widen the angle off the cushion, making sure he gets top side of the red.
65.
And again, he won't be best pleased with that one. Needs to now power this round 2. A little bit of pace required again just to widen the angle. Played to perfection.
The red is frame ball.
72.
And this could be a very memorable frame now for Judd Trump. He can give the maximum his full attention. He already is, frankly. He was, I think, very early on. Certainly when he got the reds into play on 32.
Yeah, the red being up the table as well by the blue is not really that much of a problem because he's got so much of an area to play into to then get back down for the black. This is a wonderful chance. I suppose the only red is probably the red closest to the left side cushion. Needs to get on that pretty accurately at some point.
Well, Sub was not happy on the other table. I think that was Dave Gilbert, the angry farmer, sounding pretty angry at Q Bang. But thankfully, it wasn't as Trump was addressing the white here. Conflicting emotions, it would seem.
88.
This is where the precision is required for Judd. He's got away with a few in terms of where he's left himself on his black. Plenty of options
89.
to get out for the reds. He's limited now. Less reds on the table. Needs to be more precise. He's okay. He's got the right angle on the red. He's a little close to the cushion than you would have liked. Shouldn't be a problem. Oh, but that is a problem now. It's a big problem.
97.
Yeah, he's just been sort of battling ideal position, hasn't he, at times, and now he's not the red safe, so he's given himself a headache here.
Well, first of all, pop the black for the ton. That's one box ticked. It's looking like he's probably going to have to play the double. Oh, is he even on the red? Oh, he snookered himself behind the pink, so it's going to be the red next to the blue into the yellow pocket, probably.
He's adding some layers of drama he didn't want to. Yeah, he unravelled a little bit, but even so, it's another century for the collection. Not a maximum. That'll have to wait, but Judd Trump, in no time at all, has beaten Tom Ford by 3 frames to 0. And he has made the 61st century of the season. They have their own post-mortem, but the bottom line is Trump's in good shape in the table with 3 wins out of 4. There it is. He's actually top for now. Joe O'Connor could go past him with that match against Dave Gilbert. He's 1-0 up, but Trump on 3 points, O'Connor on 3 points. They're both looking good overnight. Gilbert and Senkam on 2. Jack Jones on 1. And Jack Lazowski and Tom Ford both in the same boat. They've both played 3, lost 3. So needing to turn it all around tomorrow to stand any chance. It's still relatively close, though, that table. But Trump and O'Connor the star performers on day one. Group 6, of course, concludes tomorrow. Judd Trump will be back on table 1 in the opening match against Noppen Senkarm. Jack Jones with 2 matches to play there. Jack Lisowski, Joe O'Connor opens up on table 2. And, of course, all the matches until the Group 6 final, which will be here at about this time tomorrow night on table 1. So it's been an enjoyable day. We'll do it all again tomorrow from the whole team here at the Mattioli Arena. Thanks for your company and good night.
आमीन।
कि रात को ना घर के अंदर बैठे बैठे अचानक रो पड़े। 62 साल उम्र है, खिलाफत के आखिरी अय्याम चल रहे, तो रो पड़े ऐसे ही घर में बिला वजह। आपकी Matteo Arena in Leicester, a city that's now become a veritable hotbed of snooker. It has been for many a year, and it's also firmly established as the home of the BetVictor Championship League. 5 of the 7 places in the winners' group have been filled. This is day 1 of Group 6, and already we've witnessed plenty of drama. Top of the list, Joe O'Connor compiling a 140 break, only to draw a tricky black off a spot, and as a consequence, narrowly fail to complete a maximum. But O'Connor does have the consolation of 2 wins out of 2, together with world number 1 Judd Trump, who put together a century in defeating both Jack Lisowski and Chad Jones. As such, O'Connor and Trump are well on course for the semi-final playoffs, but it remains very early days. And it's Trump who gets the ball rolling on table 1 in this session. The ace in the pack faces Dave Gilbert, while the first contest over on table 2, available on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel, pits Jones against Tom Ford. So without further ado, let's restart this potting and break building festival. With me for this one is Stephen Hallworth, and although Gilbert did start well against Nopon Sankar, losing 3-1, he made a 100 break in the frame he won, and then bounced back with a 3-1 win over Jack Lisowski, so he's in the mix already.
Yeah, and he was quite fortunate actually against Jack Lisowski. He won 3-1, but he was gifted 2 unbelievable chances to get back in the final frame. How Jack Lisowski lost that, I don't know. It was almost a trademark Lisowski mistake. You know, he's prone to a couple, but he let Dave off the hook massively. But Dave stood up and made a really good clearance in the end, and as you say, keeps his hopes alive. It's still very early days. There's plenty of snooker to be played just yet.
So often though, a result or 2 in this session on day 1 of a group really affects what occurs on day 2. Classic example of that was Matt Selms, wasn't it? He lost his first 2 matches in the group earlier this week, but he eked out a result in this session, and then of course came back yesterday and played the lights out. So if things are looking rocky, there's always that thought in the back of players' minds that things can turn around for the better. The other interesting subplot, of course, is Chad Jones. Although he lost to Trump 3-1 this afternoon, he did make a 120 break. 15 reds, 15 blacks, by the way. So he's now made 27 centuries in the tournament. And he had Tammy. Think he would. Gilbert trying to get the cue right up and caution failed to do so. Yellow for the brown. Good and easy starter. Don't believe Judd an easy starter, that's for sure. He's starting to once again look like the man to be in this group, isn't he? 2 matches played, 2 matches won. So interesting to see how he goes about this group once again. I think he might secretly deep down quite like to be involved in the next group as well. Of course, he was in the final last night to Matthew Sell. That guaranteed another 2 days practice. He goes out to the German Masters. That starts on Monday. So another couple of days practice wouldn't be a bad thing for him. But we'll see. The second night feels like we're just saying he can pick and choose basically. He can't. He's got to win his matches still and get himself into that position. But
you fancy him strongly to be in the playoffs.
Saw Judd in the corridor upstairs about 20 minutes ago, and I said, well, pretty good start again. He went, yeah, I don't know, should have made 2 more centuries. And it's not bravado. That's what he thinks, that's what he believes, and that is the goal. Yes, wins are nice. They only provide the opportunity for more matches and therefore more opportunities to make a ton. He's not going to make one here. I said this earlier when I was commentating on his second match today against Jack Jones with David Hendon. He's been very prone to missing to middle pockets.
I suppose there's hope for us all then, isn't there?
Well, very proud in relation to the other pockets. And he doesn't miss many from distance, does he? To top corners, Stephen, he's been a machine in that regard.
He's just so reliable from range. You need him that type of shot. You sat in your chair almost expecting him to put it. You're actually shocked if he misses it. Incredibly accurate from that sort of distance. He's had a lovely lick to the black as well, just to boot, push the black on and go about his business once again.
He's been such a supporter of the Championship League over the years, Judd Trump. All of that experience will tell him that if he wins this match with 3 points, he would be extremely unfortunate to miss out on at least 5th place in the group. Occasionally, players have accumulated 3 points and been relegated from the group, but not very often. And of course, the significance of that, if he does finish at worst in 5th, he'll be back for Group 7 on Friday with another swathe of matches in which to make centuries.
21. 22. Now, he may have one red available to the left corner. He's certainly got one available to the right corner. There's a little look at Jack Jones over on table 2, in amongst them again. Pretty familiar sight, isn't it? Jack Jones in the balls on a break. He's played so well in this Championship League. A world record-breaking campaign in this event here. We still can't get rid of him, Phil.
Of course, he wants to win the group. But if he keeps going into Group 7, he wouldn't be all that first. I think he's enjoying his time here.
Yeah, I spoke with him earlier. We were on the practice table together, and
37.
he made a point. If he wasn't here and he wasn't playing, he'd only be down the club practicing anyway, wishing he was here playing. You know, it's a chance for these guys to test themselves against the best players in the world, earn a few quid whilst doing it, get a bit of match practice, sharpen up for what's to come. It's only positives, in my opinion.
Oh, now then, a turn, a twist in the tail. Trump misses with the rest, just undercuts the red. Now, problems do exist here for the clearance. Awkward yellow, green and brown glued together, but Gilbert's just happy to be back at the table.
Yeah, I think the blue just slightly hindered him there. Oh, but that is a shocker.
Gilbert, 1.
Well, how has he missed that? He was doing absolutely nothing with the cue ball.
You know, Lee Trevino, the great American golfing superstar, known for his wit and chattering incessantly on the golf course, he once said, 2 things don't last very long. Dogs who chase cars, and pros who putt for pars. Now, it might not rhyme, but one thing that's guaranteed to cause problems in professional snooker when you miss elementary blacks off the spot. It's not as catchy as Trevino's phrase, but it's equally pertinent.
17.
Yeah, it applies at the professional level, but it applies at any level, right down to beginners, amateurs. You cannot miss blacks off the spot.
24.
Anyway, you'd like to forget that as quickly as possible, Dave. Move on, this frame is done.
Thirty-one. 32.
It's been quite a scruffy frame, actually, but nevertheless, Judd Trump wins it numerically very comfortably. He leads 1-0. Welcome back to the Mattioli Arena. Over on table 2, Jack Jones is getting close to extending his world record for centuries in one tournament.
Judd Trump to break.
Just a couple of pots away from yet another. As for Judd Trump, well, he's looking for a third consecutive win, with one more match to go today against Tom Ford to complete the session on this table. Well, I can tell you, Jack Jones has made a century to lead Tom Ford 1-0 on table 2. Just the small matter of his 28th of the tournament. Now, my co-commentator, Stephen Horworth, has got some news from North Africa. Some of the game's leading juniors, most of them have been on the road to Morocco. And Stephen, a local from here in Leicester, is doing really well.
Yeah, that's right. It's relevant, isn't it? Because we are here at the Mattioli Arena in Leicester, and Kalen Patel, Leicester's very own, 16 years of age, has just booked his place into the final of the WSF Junior Championship. And the big thing about that is there is a tour card available, a professional tour card available to the winner of that event. Actually, our co-commentator the other day and main tour professional Ben Wollaston practices over the road. He's got his club breakers. He's actually mentoring and coaching Kalen at the minute, I believe. So, well, massive congratulations to him and all the best, of course. He'll take on either Ireland's Leonie Crowley or Scotland's Aman Iqbal in the final. So there will be a home nation on the World Snooker Tour come the end of that tournament. Good luck to them all.
And of course, if young Patel does win that championship and get his tour card, the first event he'll play in probably will be the Ranking Championship League here at the Mattioli Arena in July. What a start to his career that would be, playing at home.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. There's actually a possibility that he'll be, I don't know if it's already been announced, that he might be invited to play in the World Championships as well as a wild card for the event. I presume he will be, and that'll be a huge occasion for him. 16 years of age, he's barely been on the scene for 5 minutes and booked his place into a big final. What an achievement for the young lad.
Yeah, playing in the World Championship as a wild card will be thrilling and invaluable experience, and then of course he would become a main tour member. I don't believe he got hold of the white quite as much as he wanted to there, but he has
16.
cleared the blue, as it were. And he plays that shot so easily. It's mid-range, but for him, in his mind, it's short range. It's almost a formality.
He'd love an angle on this black just to screw the red right of it away from the black spot. That's exactly what he's done. Just opens the black spot up a touch more so that it can respot without being tied up.
24.
And now he can really get to work about getting amongst this business end of the table.
25.
It wouldn't be a surprise to see Judd just motor on in this game now, just go through the gears after that missed black in the opening frame from Dave Gilbert. Okay, David was already a long way behind in that frame, but to miss a black off the spot with hand on the table from right behind it is usually a costly mistake at any level. Judd will certainly look to inflict heavy punishment to Dave for that mistake.
Didn't quite force the cue ball through to the zone he wanted to be in, and he's got hampered queuing. Keeps answering the questions, though. And there's that middle pocket hoodoo again. Now, he was up off that pretty quickly. Sometimes that's the indication of a kick. And it did throw wide, but I think that was more Pilar's error. Very uncharacteristic error. And rest assured, Dave Gilbert, as classy as he is, will not continue missing.
Yeah, and it'll probably focus his mind a touch more after that miss blacked. Now he's got this chance, he'll look to try and do the same to Judd as he did to him.
I think the galling aspect for Trump with this miss was the fact he just knocked in a really pressurised ball, a really tough one as well. And he might have been forgiven for thinking the hard work was over.
5.
Now, one of the reasons we've seen so many high breaks over the course of the last 2.5 days, the balls, for whatever reason, have been splitting so easily, so nicely. Another example there. Makes such a big difference, Stephen, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's huge because the players are so good when they get in these sorts of positions. They rarely miss. It actually makes the game so easy as well because, as I say, the standard is so high. When the ball's open like this, it becomes almost like a practice routine.
35.
Just moving the cue ball around. Nice and straightforward. It's strange, isn't it, how the conditions differ from tournament to tournament. I spoke to all the players here, and over the course of all the groups, everyone's in agreement that the conditions seem to be really, really good. And when they have dipped slightly, they're able to rectify it very quickly. We've got a table fitter on site who's on the job for any queries. But the new cloth, the generous pockets, the balls opening nice, it's just a recipe for just snooker perfection, really. If there isn't another maximum in this event, I'll be absolutely gobsmacked. We should have seen 2 today.
15.
Virtually side by side as well. That would have been something, wouldn't it, if that had happened? It was very nearly a split screen with both tables watching Jack Jones attempt his and Joe O'Connor is. What a moment that could have been.
Yes, in last year's Championship League, Joe O'Connor made a 147. In the very next frame, he ran 73. They were perfect. He didn't convert the history. But it looks as though Gilbert's going to convert this chance. Trump missed that red to middle, and he's been sitting down ever since.
Taken these very well, Dave Gilbert, and he had to. This will just focus the mind even further.
62.
Good. Referee John Bellew just getting his numbers muddled up there. Didn't concern Dave. But yeah, this has been a good response.
66.
Long old stint for the referees, isn't it? You know, every credit to them. They've got to concentrate for long periods of time.
70.
Yeah, all three of them this week doing a sterling job, as always. Ian Wagstaff, John Pellew and Rob Spencer.
Difficult, but
There it goes, a break of 88 in response to Trump's 38 that ended with that misread to middle that no one could really have predicted. And so the first two frames have been shared. History might well be repeating itself. You might recall when we came back off the commercial break. At the start of the previous frame, I was telling you that Jack Jones was in line for a century against Tom Ford. Well, in the second frame, exactly the same thing applies. He's got a wonderful chance to make it 2-0 with a couple of tons. We'll keep you right up to date with his progress. See whether he can make century number 29 in the event. You know, some years ago, maybe 10 years ago, if somebody made 30 centuries in a season, it was a really solid dig. A really solid knock from whoever did it. Now Jack Jones, quite conceivable, more than likely actually, he's going to make 30 centuries in this tournament alone.
80.
It's just outrageous figures, isn't it? I don't think anyone would have expected Jack Jones to have broken the record, but it just goes to show how capable all the players are. He's still got so many more matches to be played as well. This is only his second group game, 4 more group games to play. The possibility of the playoffs, the possibility of another group, the possibility of the winners group as well. How many could he make?
Well, he could certainly make 40, couldn't he? I was saying last night, it's the chance for Jones to establish a record that
96.
will remain intact when we're all long gone.
Yeah, the fact he's bettered it by a long, long way already, with a chance to make so many more. I could be standing for a long old time. Fair play to him. He just can't miss.
9 on the prime. Right, Joe.
Yeah, 115 in the first frame, 109 in the second. He leads Tom 4-2-0. Always difficult to go into the bunch with any great gusto when you're taking the cue ball off the top cushion first. But it's worked out pretty decently for Trump. Now this is definitely missable. Playing with the alternate hand. And all things considered, I think he will be happy with that. Okay, he's not plumb, but it could have been a whole lot worse. Increasingly, Trump is quite prepared to switch hands. Now, Stephen, this could be something of a tester. Okay, he's got the red to middle, but we all know just how acute the angle is, and these middles, even on a generous table, are unforgiving.
Yeah, they're very, very nippy, these middle pockets. That's why he's chosen to play the double, and what a shot that was from Trump. Just refuses to lie down. He's got his eyes set on that century break again, hasn't he? Look at that for a shot as well. Screwing the blue in. Naturally, you would play that with left-hand side, which turns into running side off the cushion. He's played it with right to check it. He's got the arc initially and then checked the cue ball, but, well, he's cued completely across that.
Yeah, that was one of those shots when, as he took the cue back, you knew he was going to miss it. So in the previous frame, he broke down on 38 and Gilbert cleared. This time, Trump's lead a little more substantial, but not decisive. that needed to be struck so thinly. Was it worth it?
Has he left anything for Trump? He's left the red to the green pocket, but nothing straightforward. This is a tester.
So you might say Gilbert's previous shot was a little reckless, but he's not paid for it at all.
It was an awkward little one, that, for Dave. He was quite thin on that blue.
6.
Had to try and play a little holding cannon just to keep the cue ball in the middle of the table. No real control over the shot. He's lost the white to the corner pocket. Now this is a tester to the middle bag. Yeah, and it wasn't a shot that he really convinced us that he was ready to pop. He's missed a couple in this game, Dave, and that was a particularly difficult shot.
Now, good to see patience, application, common sense there. Okay, for this frame, the century not available. But get the frame one, get the match one, and things are looking healthy, very healthy.
How much of this red can he see past the blue? I don't think it's all that much. If you could see the potting angle, he'd have been downplaying it by now. Obviously he can't. He's just playing the up and down. Try and use the pink as the covering ball, but he's got the double kiss, and that's a disaster.
Given that the double kiss wasn't avoided, I suppose you could make a case out to say that could have been worse. Because playing those thin cuts, you often lose control of the white. And if the black doesn't go past the red, well, it clearly does. So that's a stroke of fortune. Gilbert just tapping the table there in acknowledgement that he was lucky.
Yes, a golden chance to get back into the frame. This for Dave. He's got, well, guaranteed 32 points around the black here before he needs to consider that red under his arm. But again, I don't think that he will be that concerned with where it is. He'll be quite happy to play it behind that at some stage.
17. 24.
Over on table 2, Tom Ford has joined the Big Break Jamboree, making it a 91 as he pulls one back against Jack Jones, whose lead over there is now 2-1.
Clever shot there from Dave. Taking the chance. He had a nice enough angle on that black to just promote that safe green. Might be tempted to play this red down the rail now because he's got a great angle on it. Just play a soft stun off the cushion. Well, he's gone top, and once again you can see how inviting that type of shot is. He caught a fair bit of that left jaw as we look, the top cushion jaw. Still accepted it. And now what a great chance for a steal.
Well, he's a massive favourite, isn't he? Not an awkward ball in sight. Trump 38-0 up in frame 2. Lost it. 55-0 up here. Should lose it.
A good sign as well. They're thinking clearly. Pot the red and then play on the green just to tidy the table up. Get the green back on its own spot. Now nothing in his way to take this frame.
44. 46. 49. 53.
Just blue and pink needed for Dave Gilbert to take a 2-1 lead.
58. 64.
That is a rich harvest from the farmer. Dave Gilbert leads Judd Trump 2-1. One more frame needed, and he'll have 2 wins out of 3 and be looking pretty good in the group standings. radically and rapidly, things can change in any group in the BetVictor Championship League. Dave Gilbert lost his first match today, 3-1 to Nopon Sankon. If he wins this one, at least for a while, he will move to the top of the table. But Judd Trump fought back from 2-1 down to beat Jack Lazowski 3-2 earlier. In fact, Lazowski in those last couple of frames didn't bother the scorers. Well, considering the mistake he made in the first frame, Dave, that black off the spot, he's responded really well. He could have already had this match won by now had he not have missed that black, so just looking to put the finishing touches to it. Now we're watching one of the game's superstars in action. News of another. Around an hour ago, the news broke on the World Snooker website that Ronnie O'Sullivan has withdrawn from the German Masters next week. He was due to play Dylan Emery in his opening match, so Emery will now receive a bye to the last 32. You know, it's funny that's happened actually, because I was with Dylan in Belgium last weekend at one of the Q Tour events, and I asked Dylan if he was going to the WSF event in Morocco. Of course, that event carries a tour card, and he said, no, I've made a decision to go to the German Masters. Obviously, he's qualified for the event already. And he said to me, I strongly fancy that there's every chance that Ronnie will pull out. And, well, he's spoken it into existence. Big prize money. Yes, Dylan Emery's in that strange situation, isn't he? Because he was top of the Q School top-up list. He's not actually a member of the tour, but he's in everything. Doesn't get the £20,000 guarantee, of course. But other than that, all of the playing windows have opened for him this season. Yeah, in my opinion, he's in the. I suppose if you are going to be on the amateur circuit, he's in the perfect position because he can play in anything he wishes. Basically, he's got the Q Tour events, playing at the top up as in the World Snooker events as well. Basically, double bubble for him. Lots of opportunities, he can pick and choose. He's in the playoffs of the Q Tour as well after winning one of the Q Tour events. I think he won the one in Bulgaria, so he's in a good position, Dylan. That's a brilliant shot that Dave's played there. He's been so unlucky. He didn't hold his hand up because he played that pot off the blue. He came round and had a look at the red. He knew that it would go close to catch the jaws of the corner pocket and going off. That is outrageous. And he smiles, but he'll be absolutely dying inside. He's pulled out a brilliant trick shot there. What a nice game this is. For now, at least, Trump is off the boil. And things aren't going well for him either. The only red he could leave was the one he has left. As we've seen so often over the years, it's hard to sustain a really high standard for 2 days straight, let alone 4 or 6. And of course, if you're involved in all 3 groups this week, it is 6 days solid match play. So even the very best have peaks and troughs.
I think more than anything in this format, for all these players, it's just concentration. They're long days, there's a lot of waiting around in between matches, and there is a lot of matches to get through as well. It's all about concentration. They can all play to that level, they can all pop balls, make tons, you know, it's an easy game to them all, but the concentration is what may let a few down. I think Judd's experiencing that in this game. Not looked as sharp as he has done.
You know, back in the early 80s when I was at university, I played a 24-hour snooker marathon for charity. 24 hours continuously playing, and by the way, I'm comparing myself to these guys, that would be ludicrous. But what I found during those many hours was that there were periods where you felt as though you couldn't miss, and then, for no apparent reason, there were periods where you felt as though you couldn't pot a ball. And I suppose the same thing applies to these guys, in the sense that you cannot sustain peak form for frame after frame, match after match, day after day. Inevitably, there will be a time where you have a low period and unproductive couple of matches. I think won his first 2 matches. Trump can afford to lose this one without losing too much sleep. And he has got one more match this evening against Tom Ford.
Well, just on that topic quickly, I too did a 24-hour snooker marathon many moons ago, and I literally couldn't pot a ball come the end of it. The 22nd hour arrived, I missed a blue off the spot that you just couldn't miss. I then sort of flung my cue up in the air. There was a fan above the table and it chopped the top of my cue off. I had to use a rack cue for the remaining 2 hours. It was the first ever cue I had, and I've still got it at home. Never had it fixed. I had a new cue made straight after that, the cue that I still use to this day.
So not your greatest fan. We've got a fan playing tomorrow, Fan Zhengyi. Actually, not tomorrow. It would be on Friday, wouldn't it, when the Group 7 begins.
very nicely here, Dave. He's got these balls placed absolutely perfectly for a break big enough to win this frame and the match. It has been a solid performance. I think overall he'd be happy with how he's played.
Yeah, he has won the Championship League in the past, the ranking version in 2021. And of course,
16.
last spring he got to the semi-finals of the World Championship. Knocked out defending champion Luca Brazil before eventually succumbing to Conor Wilson. Then he made the semi-finals of the Crucible in 2019 also. He has beaten Judd Trump 6 times. Once in the Championship League, 5 in other tournaments,
69.
including a couple of times at the Scottish Open. Now, Trump is normally mustered in those home nations events, so they are notable wins for Gilbert, as this is. These two have been going toe-to-toe for 19 years now. Their first meeting was in Aberdeen in a round-robin group of the Grand Prix in 2006, and
77.
Gilbert prevailed 3-1. In fact, Trump has produced 2 wonderful performances against Gilbert over the years. Made 4 centuries against him, winning their last 16 match in the World Championship in 21, and then 5 centuries in a 6-3 quarter-final win at the Champion of Champions in 2020. But he's not sparkled in this contest, has Trump. And Gilbert has taken full advantage.
Chance to finish with a century then, and what a way to go out that would be. He's always been a class player, hasn't he, Dave? He's one of the greatest cueists on the tour. He's got brilliant action, gets through the ball lovely, great rhythm around the table as well. Brilliant player, has been for so long. Possibly just lacks that bit of self-belief and, if anything, positivity at times. He's comes across as a downbeat character more times than not, but he really is a superb snooker player.
Yeah, I sent a note to myself today to avoid saying something I always say when I commentate on Dave Gilbert. But despite that note, I'm going to say it anyway. He's one of those players who looks the part, isn't he? He looks $1 million when he's queuing.
107.
Yeah, he really does. If you was to base your game on anyone's, Dave's would be a good action to try and copy.
113. 120 frame a match.
That was pretty good stuff from Dave Gilbert. He went 1-0 down, but then an 88 clearance from 38 adrift, a 70 clearance in the 3rd frame, and a 120 break in the 4th. Judd Trump's 100% record has been punctured. Dave Gilbert wins 3-1. Next up on the main table, more thrills and spills, no doubt, because it's Jack Lazowski against Nopon Sankar. So this is the table here on day one of Group 6 of the BetVictor Championship League. We've got 3 players now on 2 points, Dave Gilbert, Judd Trump and Joe O'Connor, because O'Connor has played 2-1-2, up and Singham on 1. The other player's yet to get up the mark. Although Jack Jones, just as we come on air, has beaten Tom Ford. So Jack Jones, in due course, will have his point put on. But we're still relatively early, of course. It's this time tomorrow night we should be into the playoffs. And it's the top 4, of course, who will be there. Bottom 2 relegated. 5th place comes back with the playoff losers. And the winner goes into the winners group. And there's only 2 more chances, this group and Group 7 this week, to get into that winners group. Now, still to come, Judd Trump, Tom Ford on this table. Before that, Jack Lazowski and Noppin Senkarm. And you can see Joe O'Connor there. He's got 2 matches to play, and if he won them both, he would definitely be coming back for the playoffs. Even 1 win, you feel he'd be in good shape, because he's won his first 2. Of course, in some ways, he's been responsible for the most memorable moments of the day. He was missing the black for a 147, the last black, that is, on 140 earlier. But anyway, he's bounced back from that nicely, and is in good shape. That'll all be on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. But here on table 1, it's Jack Lazowski and Noppin Senkarm, 2 of the nicest people you could meet in the sport, but they'll have to set that aside. Just saw Noppin practicing. He's always on that practice table.
Okay, ready. Thank you.
And of course,
First
he
red.
did win his first match against Dave Gilbert, but then he lost 3-0 to Joe O'Connor. Jack Lazowski has lost his first 2, 3-2 to Judd Trump, 3-1 to Dave Gilbert, where he really did let it slip in that match. He was a bit sloppy in places, so he'll be looking to bounce back here. It's his last match of the night, as indeed it is for Noppin Senkarm. And remarkably, this is a meeting between 2 seasoned pros, and it's only the second time they've crossed cues. Only previous meeting to this, pretty important one, in fairness. First round of the World Championship in 2023, Lazowski won 10-7. It's a match where, if you wrote down a list of all the players on tour, it'd be probably the least likely to be any aggro between these 2. They got close to that, but he'll be concerned leaving Lazowski a chance. What we saw earlier against Gilbert was Lazowski fashioned a handful of chances, but just wasn't quite clinical enough. He could easily have won that match 3-1. He lost 3-1, in fact. Could do with something out of this one, couldn't he? He don't want to end the day played 3, lost 3, because then it would be a struggle tomorrow to turn it round. It wouldn't be impossible, but it'd be a struggle. He's left the red short, okay. It went into the jaw, yes, but more pace, that would have fallen. Another, as Dave used the word appropriately, so will I, sloppy shot. Well, he missed frame ball red to that same pocket against Gilbert, who then made a miracle clearance to win their match, but it was the same thing, not quite the same shot, but again, just not being clinical. Senkarm, a more sort of methodical player, but very, very focused when he's in. He's in some ways kind of the opposite. Doesn't have the flair, but he certainly has the focus. 8. It's that same way of just walking into each shot. As well as with Steve Feeney from side right. Yes, I think we're all guilty of continuously talking about Jack Lazowski as the best player yet to win a world ranking event. But also in the conversation is Senkarm. Yeah, very much so. Got to the final last season of the Scottish Open where Gary Wilson beat him, but there's a great humility about him. He was here actually in Leicester. Probably it must have been at this event last year, and I was down at breakfast. And he came down, and I'm not kidding. 4 members of staff went over to him to see what he wanted. He's taken to him because of just the politeness that he has and the sort of sunny character he is. All sort of fighting over who was going to make his omelette.
Thank you. 15.
And certain snooker players who will remain nameless over the years, members of hotel staff will be fighting over who isn't going to make his omelette. Yeah, he's a lovely bloke. Sankon. Yeah, as I say, you know, you can see it here. He's got a deliberate style, but it can be very effective. He made a 147 in Riyadh at the Saudi Arabian Masters last summer. Got a £50,000 bonus for that. Got an unexpected kiss there. He's still on this black. Beautifully held.
31.
You know, you talk about specific shots, and that cut back into a blind top corner pocket on the black. That's one that all of the players play so well. No snooker at the moment on table 2. Next up there will be Joe O'Connor against Jack Jones.
39.
So Dave and I will be on century watch. And we could be watching a century here. If the pink pots to the left hand top corner pocket. Well, clearly it does. That presents a great opportunity to dislodge a couple more reds from that mini bunch. Unless he's dropped straight. Which is the case. Here he is, Jones the Century. That's what we're calling him in Wales. Jones the Century. Dave was just telling me there's an article about him in one of the newspapers today for his achievement, and I think it's richly deserved, Dave. Yeah, Phil Lake from the Metro has rung him up to have a chat, and yeah, I mean, you did wonder how many he could make. Say he ended up in Group 7, he could leave it with 40. The previous record was 23, remember? That's worked out nicely. He brought the red out. He's on the blue, so definite chance for Nopon Senkarm to profit from Lazowski's very unexpected miss. Red to right corner. Nice little Thai contingent, of course, on tour. Tepchara Nu is much more erratic, more
flamboyant, yes, but more erratic. Of course, Sonny O'Connor's back on tour this season. Mick Nutcher as well.
53.
Yes, if ever the World Cup was back on with three-man teams as it used to be, Thailand would have a pretty good unit.
Barry Hearn, I saw an interview with him over the festive period, and of course Barry's always festive, as we know, but he was saying he would like to bring the World Cup back. Sengam develops these reds very nicely.
Well, my views on the World Cup are quite simple. It didn't work as a two-player event per team, but I think three-man teams would be really interesting. And of course, there are more nations now who can be competitive with three-player teams.
Yeah, and also if you don't have enough professionals, you know, it's a boost for the amateur game, isn't it, to bring in the leading amateurs to get a chance to play them. So I totally agree. Let's hope that comes off. So 58 to the good. Red and a colour required.
66.
And this has been, as I say, it's been studious, but it's been effective. You know, he has focused on every shot. Oh, but that he's missed it, that one. The red caught the other red. So he's not over the line yet.
Open second. 66.
And he didn't really have to squeeze that red through. It was clear that there was a channel there to pot it. So just on the threshold of winning the opener, Sankon errs. And now Lazowski, who had 2 frames snatched from his grasp against Dave Gilbert earlier, he could be the one doing the snatching. In a positive sense.
He made that great clearance last season at the British Open against Sean Murphy to win their match. It was the first 2 shots were both absolute worldies, actually.
9.
I think it's a bit of a myth that he lacks bottle. I don't think it's that. I think he sometimes lacks focus. Well, actually on easier shots rather than pressure balls. Well, he's got a great chance here.
15. 16.
Look at that positional shot onto the penultimate red. So precise. Almost effortless. I agree with you, Dave. I don't think it's a bottle issue. Sometimes I question his drive, his ambition.
29.
Yeah, but nobody's any one thing, and if Jack maybe didn't have that personality, then he wouldn't be able to play with the freedom he does to make the dazzling breaks he can. So, sort of 2 sides of the coin, really, but he certainly should win this frame now, shouldn't he? It's about just trying to stay in control. Just slightly overscrewed the cue ball, so he's getting the rest out. Yeah, and now it's just become a little more complicated, but he can take the brown to middle. He doesn't do it the obvious way, does he? That's why we like him.
I like the fact he played the green with the rest rather than right-handed.
49.
Earlier on, certainly against Gilbert, he lost a couple of frames he should have won. Is he about to win a frame he should have lost? Looks like it. This is a terrific clearance. Nopensengon will be sick, though. He did all the hard work in this frame. And in the blink of an eye, Lazowski has made a dashing 62 clearance, and he leads 1-0. Well, it's a great clearance from Jack Lazowski. Nopensengon, as I say, be very disappointed. He did a lot of hard work, just sort of mishit the pot he went for, caught another red, and Jack stepped in and made a lovely clearance. So 1-0 it is to him. He's looking for his first win of the day. Sengham is second. And then they'll both have 3 matches in the groups tomorrow, hopefully, of course, trying to get in the top 4 later on. One thing that's incontrovertible, if Lazowski wins this match, the group really tightens up. Can tell you, over on table 2, it's been a cagey start of the first frame between Jack Jones and Joe O'Connor. O'Connor first in, but Mr. Pinkton middle, and now Jones is very much in. As indeed is Jack Lazowski with this wonderful long red. And well controlled for the black as well. That's the thing. I think the reason sort of pundits can get frustrated with him, if he wasn't any good, that'd be one thing, wouldn't he? Just say, okay, well, his attitude doesn't matter maybe if he's not talented, but he's one of the most talented players in the game. He did work with Peter Ebdon. That tie-up didn't seem to pay dividends as it did for Sean Murphy. But as I say, you know, if he wasn't the character he was, maybe he wouldn't be able to play with the freedom that allows him to make clearances like the one we just saw. But then
Jack Lazowski's 16.
he misses that one. Some of the most interesting snooker personalities have been those that can play brilliantly, but you're always scared they're going to miss a ball they should pot in. That was a prime example. Of course, the first People's Champion was Alex Higgins. He was exactly the same. You never quite knew how any shot was going to turn out. Big difference though champions, won the UK Championship, the Masters, and a couple of World Championships.
7.
Now, we've made the point already this evening that the balls are spreading very well on this table. But when you take the cue ball off the top cushion first, even at pace, there are no guarantees on any table that's ever been manufactured. Hardest way to break the reds is the shot that Sakon was forced into there. Swan neck rest. Choosing here. Well, he's got the white as close to the cushion as he was intended, so that will unravel quite quickly. Sure, he felt there was value in that. He'd been on the black. Was not expecting to leave a red on. You're not quite sure if you're safe though with Lazowski. This red does cut in to the yellow pocket. And then it goes. Normally, you don't want to catch the bump of the middle pocket. That one really helped. The ping flies into the green bag and position should be a given after it. I'm at this point with Stephen Hallworth Lazowski played this morning. And I'll ask you your opinion as well, Dave. The fact is, Lazowski's been in 6 world ranking finals and 6 other semi-finals, actually. Still to win one. And he's been given quite a raw deal because he's played Robertson twice in a ranking final, Selby on 1 occasion, and Trump 3 times. So they are really tough tests, aren't they?
22. That's 31.
Absolutely, and he's beaten some terrific players to get to those finals. I think the concern is more that he's not been in one for 4 years.
22.
No disgrace losing to any of them. I think he finds it hard playing Trump. He obviously looks up to Judd Trump, great friends. And also Trump's brilliant, but then he misses that black off the spot.
Jack Lazowski, 22.
There's been an issue today, just the odd miss out of absolutely nowhere. Yeah, how can someone of his ability fail to pot a ball of that nature?
Seven. Eight.
So, 1 open red and then 2 on cushions to deal with here.
13. Seventeen.
Well, it always seems tougher to pot a ball along the bulk cushion than the top cushion for some reason. And these pockets are not ungenerous. He didn't really get close to that. That will be the test, if and when it ever arrives, on the golden ball in Saudi Arabia. Someone makes a 147, they need to put that golden ball along the ball cushion for a 167. And a huge amount of money. That will be one hugely pressurised and difficult shot. So 9 the difference, 2 reds left, frame very much open. should equalise from here, Dave.
Yes, and of course,
3.
you were reflecting could have been 2-0 up, but equally it could have been 2-0 down. Zowski chances in this frame. Missed that black off the spot earlier. Senkam just needs to apply the finishing touches here.
Been a profitable day for Joe O'Connor, who's taken a 1-0 lead over Jack Jones on table 2. Early on, Jones had a really good chance, surprisingly from short range. He overcut a black that
7.
wasn't too taxing, and O'Connor did the bulk of the damage from that.
9.
Green and brown needed for Senkam to level this match. Remember, the last match will be Judd Trump against Tom Ford on this table. Well, it wasn't flawless by any means, but it'd be relieved after what happened in frame 1, where Zowski cleared up to win on the black. Senkam has levelled up, so all square here in Leicester this evening. It's 1 each. So Noppin Senkam has levelled up with Jack Zowski at 1 each. On the other table, Joe O'Connor leads Jack Jones 1-0. It's day 1 of Group 6 of the BetVictor Championship League. There are 7 groups before the winners' group. So we have Hossein Fafai, C. Jarwi, Mark Selby, Karen Wilson and Matt Sell in the winners' group. 2 more places to be found. And it'll be that first week of February where the champion's crowned. Of course, a place in the Champion of Champions for anyone not already qualified.
And after Group 5, which was record-shattering in terms of its overall standard, and a pretty good session this morning, actually. Few mistakes, few errors of an unforced nature creeping into the games of all of the players involved tonight. Maybe a sign of fatigue, certainly for those involved in Group 5 on Monday and Tuesday.
lovely long pot from up in Sinkham. John Pellu just dealing with a fly or something there. But yeah, this is arrow straight.
One. Six. Seven.
That wasn't so successful though. He strikes me, Sinkham, he's someone who played the same in this as in any event. Some of the players I think have been a bit more open than they might normally be, but I just think he's going to play his game straight away. Lazowski looking to open everything up. Needs a good cue ball though. Well, there's nothing like a fluke.
One.
The only problem is, the shot he actually played, the safety shot, was performed to perfection. Cue ball tight under that ball cushion. And although that seems really heavy-handed, on these superfine match cloths, when you're in a position like that, nestling in behind a ball colour for a snooker is a really tough ask. It's a perfect example of a fluke that he didn't actually want, really. I mean, he apologised for it. That's just because he's polite, but he left him that nasty roll-up. He potted the red, but clearly he's not on the blue or the green. Looks like yellow. Which he crunches in. But is he on this red to right corner?
Three.
Well, he is. So that was a terrific shot. Yeah, after two pots of that quality. Thankfully, he's on the red. That's gone wrong. Again, it's the other way round. This time the blue's in the way of the green, and neither pots. So,
Jack goes
just having to
out.
settle for safety. He didn't want to, but had no choice really. It was the right thing to do. But when you decide to play safe, then fully invest in that. It's not a bad safety from Lazowski, but it could have been a little more telling had he blocked the left-hand side of the bunch off Sankor and behind the brown. Well, now he's got a problem because there's a red over the pocket. He's not on the black.
does he go down swinging, or does he try to block the path of Sankar? I think we know the answer. Not in the same postcode as the pocket, that yellow.
Jack Kozlowski, 1.
Yeah, I mean, he was in trouble, wasn't he? You can understand why he would try and pot his way out of it, but nowhere near, as you say. It's amazing, though, how a ball off its spot can cause trouble. That green being where it was there caused a lot of difficulty. It's about to be removed, although it's going to go on the black spot, actually. So, again, it's sort of in the area of the table it shouldn't be.
You'll watch on this shot one of those players who has a discernible pause, pulls the cue back, waits, then delivers. It's a repeatable cue action, of that there's no doubt.
This is thin along the cushion, and it's one of those, if he misses it, he'll probably leave it in the jaws.
This pocket hit the near jaw, and you probably won't pot the red, but you can hit a large amount of the far jaw. Oh, well, he hit the near jaw and it still went in. Just about scrambled in. That made an immense difference to the frame. Quite quiet on table 2 at the moment. It's 1-0 to Joe O'Connor, and he leads by 58 points to 0 against Jack Jones in frame 2. 7 reds left.
Well, it's been quite a low scoring frame so far, but obviously the main thing is to win it, and he's 29 in front, 34 with the blue. Could have won all 3 frames. He probably could have lost them all as well. Lazowski was in trouble with the red over the left corner, tried to pop that very difficult yellow, and left this chance from it.
32.
And Robert Senkan will need another red after the black. to lead 2-1. So he's stuck to his task well here and has a chance to go on to claim his second point. Lazowski's not lost yet, but if he does, he's in big trouble really. He played 3, lost 3. Obviously he's got 3 more matches tomorrow. He's got Joe O'Connor. He's got Jack Jones.
48.
And he's got someone else whose name I can't find.
Tom Ford. That's him, yeah. First up on table 2 for the afternoon evening session. But the way those two are going, that might be a dead match.
Got Ford to play trump on this table, and if he loses that, yeah, he'll be 0 for 3 as well. So both be struggling.
Years ago, when a certain bookmaker had a shop on site at tournaments, quite often they would offer a bet about a specific frame, whether there's going to be under or over 100 points scored. Well, if you had that bet and you'd gone over 100 points, you'd be sick now. It was low scoring because early on, lots of reds were potted without a colour, but Nopon has finished well.
Yeah, it was a good break that. Didn't falter when the chance came. Noppen Senkarm takes the lead with that 80 clearance at 2-1. So it's 2-1 to Noppen Senk on the penultimate match on table 1 here today. Jack Lazowski looked a bit fed up there, wasn't he, in the chair? Obviously, he had a chance in the frame, but was in trouble with the red over the table. I think also, he is obviously a quick player. Noppen is more methodical, not slow, just more methodical. But there was a sort of sense of inevitability. He was going to pot everything, so you can maybe understand why Lazowski wasn't best pleased. Anyway, it's 2-1. Noppen looking for his second point here from 3 matches.
Yes, and if he gets to 2 points, that would be 4 players on that mark. wasn't actually a shot at, I think, because of the middle pocket bump. But now, what a bonus. He played safe there, hoping to pot the red, but it was pure speculation. But then the white, catching that middle pocket jaw, left the cue ball in mid-table and left a promising chance.
Yeah, I suspect Jack isn't any less fed up after that. It's a great pot, but the knuckle was golden.
These days, Thailand, well, it's been hosting in recent years the World Six Reds Championship, but in terms of ranking tournaments, we don't go there anymore. And yet, for a while, there are a whole host of tournaments in the land of smiles. I'm sure Sankon would love to compete on home turf. 12. He would have liked those Reds to split much better than they did. Plenty of displacement, but nothing doing.
Well, Zasowski was sort of sat with his eyes shut in his seat, but it might be time to open them again. Well, in fact, that red was potable, but it's not in, so Jack gets the chance.
Drop the second 12.
Black won't pot to right corner. The pink's tied up. So he's going to take a little bit of working out.